Yeah, there's a few stories that I will never tell about that place, but when I'm finished with playing and, I'm too old for it, I'm going to do a book, because there's a lot of people that are going to want to take my head off if I do, but yeah,
Well, don't you have anything to do with sherbet?
not a lot. Not a lot. I actually, Garth Porter came, our managers, Kerry and Wayne Jarvis and Paul Wheatley were looking after Stockade, and Glenn was doing LRB, of course. And Garth came and listened to our original songs and had some ideas to make them a bit more sophisticated musically, and shortened, get to the chorus quicker, that sort of thing, and we did take some of his suggestions, and on the 2 singles we did what he said, and that worked, and it was good. It worked out okay, and that helped me because it advanced me into the next level of writing. Another Jenner, and I found I could do it, and I liked it, so I kept that, and took the band that way as well. But good writers was Wayne Smith. He was in Blackfeather. Ray Arnott was managing them, so with Neil Johns. Blah, 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 all the rest of them.
Is Wayne a guitarist?
Yes.
I think he lives at Cairns now, does he?
He's what?
He lives at Cairns.
No. He lives at now just at right on the water at it's in Sydney. What's the name of it? Near Hurstville, further down, Rockdale, next suburb, where all the restaurants are right on the beach. Yeah, he's in a flat there, nice flat too, with Ocean Phillips, who used to be called Donna, but now she's Ocean. That's cool. She's a very bright girl, really intelligent girl, speaks Chinese, everything. She's brilliant. Don't know what she's doing with him.
And what about Johnny Farnham?
John Farnham, yeah. We came across each other a few times, especially in Melbourne. Without saying, I'm not being critical of all of this. This is just what I thought, and it was borne out to be true. When he told me he was joining Little River Band, when I found out he was joining Little River Band, I was very apprehensive about it. Glenn Shorrock was Little River Band, and B. Birtles and Goebbels, and they were Little River Band. They had their time, they had brilliant songs, well executed, and they played them live just like on the album, which was something I really respected. As a singer, as a musician, as a drummer and a guitarist, I really appreciated that from that point of view. And when I found out about that, I hummed and hawed. I said to Swampy, I said, do you think that's a good thing? He said, oh yeah, what a voice. I said, yeah, I know. I said, but do you reckon, having been in the States, I just didn't think the Americans would accept it, and they didn't. And yet the last album they did was one of the best. The songs were great. This time I'm playing for keeps. That's a great song. But I just knew that the Yanks weren't going to accept that. Little River Band was not that well compared to the original River Band. that album was frantic. You know, and I just didn't think they'd accept John, you know, as a replacement. You know, and they didn't, and it didn't sell. But he came back here and brained it. You know, yeah, he's a legend. The last time I saw Ross Wilson, I was in the Cross, and I saw him walking along the road, and I was driving, and I said, "Ross," and he looked at me. I said, "How you going, mate?" And he said, "Oh, I've been better." I'm sure he didn't recognise me because he's looking like this to try, you know, to see who I was. But that's, you know, that was funny.
Because you would have grown up that era with.
Oh yeah, Daddy Cool.
That whole
Yeah,
era.
that. Oh yeah, mate. That feel. No, let's. You know, yeah. That was just a brilliant one-time
He
song.
played Sunbury?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, with Thorpe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw
That
that
was a
there.
good era of Australian music, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was sort of a pest in those days, you know, because I'd go up and talk to them, and they'd try to be polite, you know, but in the end you can sort of see them fucking go away, you know. But you know, but I just admired them, you know. So I understood, you know, when they're at that caliber and that level, they're thinking all the time about, oh, what's got to be done next. You know what I mean? Blah 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 blah. Are we right? You know, and that sort of thing, because their focus is that, you know, and that's great. You know, I know what that is.
So when you were growing up, were you into 50s music? Like
I tell you, the first record that really turned me on,
or even
in
earlier?
well, it was 50s, late 50s, was Cold Joy. Yes, sir, that's my baby. You know, I thought that was a great song. Then Crash Craddock came out in '58 with Boom Boom Baby, and the production on that single, I was a fanatic. I would run home from school, and my father, he was in intelligence during the war, and he was a signals person, and he built out of packing crates a huge amplifier and 15-inch speakers with horns suspended on wire in these, you know, crates, and he'd soundproof them, you know, and do this, and we had them in our lounge room, and it took up nearly half the bloody lounge room. And I would run home and put Boom Boom Baby on and play it full blast, you know, over and over and over, and stand in front of those speakers. You know, the production on that thing, the deltones, backing harmonies, you know, like if you've ever heard the song, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That song's production stands up today. The drum sounds, the kick drum, the vocals. That, you know, Colonel Tom Parker actually paid Crash Craddock not to record. Gave him $1 million, and he signed a contract. And he didn't record another song for 9 years. And then he challenged the contract as being unlawful because it was restriction of commerce, the American thing. And the court agreed with Crash Craddock, but he never did any good after that. I think Tom put it out, this guy's shit on me, so don't play his stuff and all that stuff. In those days, you paid the DJs to play his stuff, you know. And in even Little River Band, if Glenn hadn't have been a DJ in the States prior to that, I'm not sure they would have got the airplay they got. You know, he was Australia's, what was the Beatles manager's name? Brian Epstein. Yeah, Glenn was Australia's Brian Epstein. He was, because he got Little River Band stuff played through his DJ mates, and that broke them. They were so lucky to have him. Yeah, great manager. He was a good bass player too, really. Yeah. You know, you know, remember that? What was the band name again?
Little River Band?
No. When Glenn was playing bass. He played bass in Master's Apprentices. Yeah, yeah. They were pretty good. I tell you, the band that really turned my head in my early teens was a band called The Creatures. And they were a local Liverpool band just up here. And they used to play the pub. And they did a version of, what's the name of the song? It's Fortune Teller. Yeah, the Stones. They did the version of Fortune Teller that was better than the Rolling Stones. It really was. I played them back to back, and I would take the Creatures over that any time. There was a couple of bands around that time that were like that. Easy Beats. Yeah, they broke ground. They really did.
What pubs did you play at back then that aren't there now? What pubs did you play at?
What pubs?
Yeah.
Oh, God, mate.
They're gone now.
Oh, Jesus. What was the name of the pub at Liverpool? Railway. The Railway Hotel.
Yeah.
The one at... Oh, there were two at Bondi Junction.
Coogee, Salinas and all that, they're all gone, aren't they? Salinas.
The venues, yeah. Bondi Lifesaver, that's gone. Checkers, gone. Checkers, oh God, how many times do we do Checkers? You know, that's where I met Kevin Borich for the first time, and Doug, at Checkers.
Was Harry Bruce playing with him then?
No, that was the La-Di-Da's. Peter Roberts, who later joined Chariot, playing guitar. So Peter Roberts was on bass. The Maori guy that tried to rob his own bank, and he got God, I can't wish it. Huey, someone, and he got written off and tried to rob his own bank. It's true. Yeah, and Kevin on guitar. It was just a three-piece then.
Because when they were in the La-Di-Da's, headline.
Oh, all of them. Ted Mulry, just name them all. You know, My Sex, all through that era. Yeah. You know, we all crossed each other's paths. We all said hello. But the thing is, you're so busy, you'd get a couple of hours at the pool, on the pool table at the, you know, Her Majesty's in fucking Melbourne or something, you know, and that'd be that, you know. But it was always business, you know, pretty much. And so, because you were on the road all the time, you didn't actually play together. You did the same shows,
I know.
but you never sat down with each other and talked about your musical taste, what you really wanted to do, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so it was like you were working all the time. And so, and your downtime was rehearsing new songs, originals. I mean, I didn't do covers at all until the 80s. I didn't do covers at all. Right through the 70s, no covers, all originals. You know, and all original players. None of them wanted to do covers. You know, they wanted to get their songs. We actually, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh. Alzheimer's. Cut a long story short, Michael Gudinski saw us play. The name of the band nearly came then. It'll come. And he came up to me. I didn't know who he was. You know, I had no idea who he was, because in those days he was in the shadows. You know, and he came up. He said, "Those songs, are they all original?" I said, "Yeah. Yeah, I like those. I can do something with those." I said, "Oh, all right." He said, "Oh, Michael Gudinski." I said, "Oh, I've heard of you." Who hasn't? You know? But I never put a face to the name, you know what I mean? And Bobby Dazzler, that was the name of the band. And he said, how fast can you get the band to Melbourne? I said, to do what? He said, record. You know, I said, oh, well, give me a number and I'll call you. You know, when we finish this tour thing, you know. I can't remember where it was even. But, you know, I was pretty surprised. So I ran up to Smithy. You remember Smithy's, the PA place? Well, he was a bass player in Bobby Dazzler. And Noel Taylor was the drummer. The guitarist at that time was... God, we went through a few. I can't remember now. Denny Stibbard from Itambu. Yeah. I do remember. I played with Johnny Russell and Ian Rylands used to put piano strings on his bass. And we formed a band called Hot Cock, COQUE. And we used to play at the pub right behind the hospital in Missenden Road. Our little wine bar thing. And we'd play there and, you know, the nurses would come and then go. And we used to do a song called Harlot Lady. Johnny Russell wrote it. And Jimmy Penson, the drummer, played with me in Stockade as well. We kept in touch a lot. But yeah, so anyway, I rang him and he said how far can, so that we went down there, right? And he did his spiel and all the rest of it, and we went back, and two of the boys didn't want to move to Melbourne. They just didn't want to. And I thought to myself, you know, big chance here. The original songs, guys, come on, you know, fly down. And he said, but once we start playing, you're going to have to move there. You know, well, he didn't want to do it. So I went down. I flew down, he paid for the plane fare for me there and back, you know, because so he wasn't mucking around. He wanted to do it. And I just told him, look, I can't get the two members to come down. He said, oh, we'll just get the songs. I said, hang on. They help write the songs. So we're going to, if we release something, we're going to have to pay them. And he balked at that. You know, of course he did, because he's going to invest, you know, push it. He was the one that put AC/DC on the back of that truck and did, yeah, he was the one that thought of that and put him on that truck, and away you went.
So they had no permission to do that?
No, I know they didn't. You know, none at all. And did you, if you watch the video, see the shocked look on the people's faces? They go, and the old ladies with the hats and the pink coats are going, oh my God, you know, like freaking out. You know, well, he was a genius, really. You know, he knew how to get press, and that was on the news and everything. This morning, a band, AC/DC, went through the streets of Melbourne, and then they had footage of it, you know, and he gave it to them. Brainstorm. Brilliant. Anyway, yeah, cut a long story. There's lots of stuff that I take for granted until someone says a word or something, you know, bang, and the memories come back, you know what I mean? So I can't remember. All I can say is, in answer to your question, is you crossed paths all the time. You know, but you never actually played together. I did with a few when asked to get up. You know, I'd do backing vocals with them and stuff, and then, you know, blah blah blah. That was quite good. You know, but playing with Kevin Borich, tell you what, man. When he hit a power chord, and he's standing right behind you because, you know, it's only a trio, so there's not much place to go. You got the drums, Kevin, bass, that's it. When he played, you feel the compression in the middle of your back pushing you forward, right? And the fallback was shite, you know, so it's finger in the air, ding-a-ling-a-ling, you know. But yeah, yeah. I've had a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun, you know. But there were choices in that too. You know, how much do you want to sing? Then you can't smoke that, and you can't snort this, you know, and you can't drink that. You want to keep your voice? Make up your mind. You'd fall down a couple of times, you know, but then you'd be really pissed off with yourself because you couldn't do what you wanted to do with your throat, you know. So then I just made a choice. No, nothing. No alcohol. Eat well. Exercise. Run. Get your lungs powered. You know, that's it. And that's been good to me.
And how do you then